And it's not, Paula is great. She's a great actress, but it felt like, it's not like, for instance, she was protecting her kids from her husband, or she was, there's been, there's a fascinating debate about, talk about Breaking Bad. I talk about Breaking Bad more than I talk about Fringe. But no, with things like with lately, it's newer. It's shiny and pretty. But so many people hate Skylar because they sympathize with Walter. But and I can understand that mindset, even though I don't agree with it. I think I can understand where she comes from. I understand what she's doing, et cetera, et cetera. With Ray's wife, I just feel like I feel like she's so, in many ways, just one-dimensional. Like, even when she saw the priest, it's like, okay.
Well, she made it. I mean, I think you called her toxic, and I think that part of the problem is, like, she's toxic to herself.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
she doesn't seem to do anything for herself, or to necessarily have a brain inside of her head, and as a character. Yeah. And I think that's, if they're writing her that way on purpose, that's a really big misstep, and then I don't want to watch a character like that. But I also think that, you said people don't like Skylar. Yeah. And yeah, absolutely, that's true. I don't know that we would get people saying, I don't like Ray's wife for those reasons. I think you would say, I don't like Ray's wife because she doesn't seem like a person who could exist in this world, in life. Like, I don't know how you get to be an adult living and acting and breathing and behaving the way this woman does on the show.
I mean, I also don't understand how they've been married this long. I mean, it's kind of baffling to me, because just like, I don't know, I just feel like so much of their early relationship they showed was so not great, and then there was like, maybe I want to get her pregnant, like, all, like, they've never been to me a believable couple. Like, even when, he's said he loves her and she said she loves him. Yeah. That's one of the least plausible aspects of the show.
I agree, but I also think that some of that might be intentional. I feel like some of that is, to a degree you're supposed to look at their relationship and see that it's not really real, because I think he's trying to overcompensate so hard for what he doesn't want to be.
Right.
That whether he loved her once or not, whether he, wanted this family or just thought he should be there because he didn't want to be his father, I think we've gotten to a point where, you don't want to run out on your wife and kids the way that your father did, but maybe you're hurting them more by staying, but they're not actually they're not actually dealing with that.
Right.
I do feel like, in a way, if they dealt with it a little more in the show, it would make more sense that the audience is thinking that way, because right now, for me to say that, I feel almost crazy. I feel like I'm reading too much into the show because they're not giving me enough.
Yeah.
Which is a crazy thing to say for a show like this, with all these dynamic people on a network that I think does
great writers too.
Yeah.
I mean, Anne's.
I feel like it's a really muted show. Like, everything that should be really, the moments that should be emotional and strong don't come across that way. Like, even with the priest, I felt like that was super drawn out. Like, you knew it could only end one way, and you knew, and I kept saying
every single person possible interrupting them.
And well, that too, but I also kept saying, like, it's, they keep saying, just apologize to him, and I'm like, I don't know why you keep saying that, because if he apologizes to him, he doesn't mean it, so what good is the apology?
Right.
Like, it's not going to actually help this guy. Like, even if he hears the apology, even if the guy means it, it's probably not going to help this guy. So, like, they focus on these weird things, and it just feels like if they just spent half the time focusing on that, and then and the other half expanding on other things that could be interesting, it could be a really dynamic show. But I'm not into it. I watched the full first season mostly because it just kept showing up. Showtime is really great about giving us screeners. And it's summer, so I had not much to do, so I kept watching it, and every week I kept saying, like, all right, I don't feel like I lost anything, but I don't feel like I gained anything.
Yeah, I mean, and it's unlike the Dome, which we were just talking about. I don't feel, I will watch season 2. I didn't come out of it to the point where I'm like, oh, this show, I don't want to deal with it ever again.
No, but with limited time, I probably would watch it
summer.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like,
it depends. To be fair, if it aired with Homeland, for instance, during the fall, like Homeland,
forget it.
I will, give up humans to watch Homeland. Sorry, not really sorry, but
No, but
that's
that's the thing.
That's a
It's-
show.
I'm
that
willing to
that
put up with less in the summer,
Right.
with less of a show in the summer because I've got nothing else to watch.
And it's, you know, there's a couple of shows that are coming up that summer that I'm like, I will watch you because you're coming in the summer. And, you know, generally speaking, the kitchen's really great at giving us things, and hopefully the first batch will be strong when they come back with it. But yeah, I honestly, I've got no clue. Like, they could tell me the show is going to pick up 10 years from now.
Yeah.
And I would completely
That might
say,
be more
sure.
interesting.
I mean, yeah, I honestly have no clue where this show goes from here because that finale could have been a series finale.
Yeah.
So, we'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
I think we're done talking about Ray Donovan. Aren't you glad we didn't talk for 3 hours? You can occasionally keep
Anyway,
our mouth shut.
I didn't look at the time code, so we might have.
It wasn't 3 hours. But the sun's still out, so at least there's that. Anyways, I'm so glad you stuck around and watched all this. I'm Marisa at Marisa Rockman.
I'm Danielle at Danielle TBD.